Hi everyone, today we are talking about one of the most controversial men in America, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. This isn't about any of his political beliefs and things he's voted for, though those have definitely been the biggest things that have brought him his notoriety. Today's video is just about the hypocritical snake he is and how you can never trust a word coming out of his mouth because he's a fucking snake. Forewarning here, I might sound a little left-leaning in this video. I swear I'm moderate. It's just that the left are the ones going after his throat right now for what he did, and they're the ones pushing the ball in the right direction for this issue here. So, what exactly did this goofy man do? Well, it recently came out from the nonprofit group ProPublica that the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has been accepting gifts under the table from billionaire Republican mega donor Harlan Crow. Crow has a lot of powerful conservative friends and appears to be what you would call a lobbyist. Crow and Thomas go back decades, and in those decades, Thomas has been a member of the Supreme Court. Crow's been gifting Thomas with things like a $19,000 Bible that used to be owned by Frederick Douglass, trips to Crow's lakeside Adirondack resort multiple times over the last 20 years, at least 6 trips to Indonesia, time at Crow's ranch in Texas, trips to Bohemian Grove, and more. Wait a minute. Bohemian Grove? We'll push that shady adventure to the side for now, because if I took that schizo pill for this video would be like 8 hours long. Maybe another day. But what's really messed up about these gifts that Thomas has been receiving is that he's just been totally hiding all of them from everyone. Thomas was supposed to declare in an annual disclosure report that he was receiving these gifts for transparency reasons. Obviously, because he's a Supreme Court justice, and we really should know everything about the lives of the people deciding the law of the land. There was a law passed in the 70s that was put in place after Watergate that required people in Thomas's position to disclose the gifts that they received. Supreme Court members have very few rules that they have to follow compared to other people running our democracy. Yet Thomas violated one of the very few rules that he has to follow for like 20 years. Thomas did once in the past disclose parts of the gifts he's received, but stopped disclosing them. I mean, like, we literally have photos of some of the trips he took as evidence. It seems like Crow wasn't out here influencing Thomas to get the things that Crow wanted done. Even so, transparency was absolutely thrown under the bus, and laws were broken, which makes this wrong regardless of whether or not Thomas took any bribes to pass something Crow was interested in. The lavish trips also bring into question Thomas's character quite a bit. He's claimed in his own words that he's an average American.
You know, I don't have any problem with going to Europe, but I prefer the United States. And I prefer seeing the regular parts of the United States. I prefer going across the rural areas. I prefer the RV parks. I prefer the Walmart parking lots to the beaches and things like that. There's something normal to me about it. I come from regular stock, and I prefer that. I prefer being around that.
But island hopping in Indonesia, Bohemian Grove, one of the most lavish camps in the Adirondacks, that's not exactly a Walmart parking lot or an RV. This is why transparency is so important. He clearly was not being completely honest in the video that he put out himself. He's not the people's man like he tries to claim he is. He's a man that likes his luxury, even when some of that luxury is tied to one of the most mysterious places in the world. He's a man that will show up at the Walmart parking lot to make a public appearance, but when the camera's gone, he's out on a mega donor's mega yacht. And ironically enough, you'll never guess who helped him fund the video that Thomas put out. Yeah, isn't life just pathetically ironic? Thomas clearly isn't who he says he is. He's a lying snake just like every other Democrat and Republican in office. Could you tell I don't like politicians very much? Never trust a Fed, kids. They always hate you. But anyway, Democrats are now calling for impeachments, which is pretty predictable. It's a situation they can use to get more left-leaning justices into the court. AOC said on Twitter, "This is beyond party partisanship. The degree of corruption is shocking, almost cartoonish. Thomas must be impeached." What Thomas did was wrong, but it sounds like she's describing the erosion of democracy. There are a lot more things eroding democracy and corrupt than Thomas illegally hanging out with a billionaire. I don't know, maybe stuff like gerrymandering, lobbying, which really never made any sense how lobbying is legal in the first place, the filibuster. Those don't seem more important things that are eroding our democracy and literally are corrupt. Obviously, people like AOC are aware that there's things much worse than what Thomas did. But getting rid of Thomas opens up the possibility of putting another liberal in the Supreme Court. Hey, no shame about what AOC is doing. She's a politician. Power games are all people like her are good at. And literally only that. I'm sure if a liberal justice did the same thing, we'd see someone like Ted Cruz calling for that justice's impeachment too. Because all politicians are snakes, no matter what side of the aisle they're on. There is one good thing that Democrats have been pushing since this started, and that's making a code of ethics for the Supreme Court to follow. See, that right there is exactly what we need. The Supreme Court is the highest authority in the country, and the fact that they don't have one yet isn't right. Though there's currently no evidence that Crow was using Thomas's power, he still very much had a Supreme Court member in his back pocket. No one should be able to have something like that. And a code of ethics could stop future issues like this. It's a really good idea despite the other Democrats that would use the situation to get another Democrat in the court. Look, the situation sucks all around for everyone. Americans already feel terrible about the state of the government, so seeing any Supreme Court justice breaking laws, no matter how controversial the things they voted for are, just really sucks a lot. It's not helping to restore faith in the government. Here we have another politician once again showing that they're nothing more than a dirty snake doing whatever it is they feel they need to do to go out and live some absolutely insanely wealthy lifestyle. It just sucks, man. I was never a fan of Thomas. He doesn't handle delicate situations with the importance that they deserve. What bums me out and pisses me off is that we are once again left with another Washington scandal about power being abused for money. America should not work like that. The world shouldn't work like that. I'm not calling for some massive change in the way everything works. At this point, I feel like in our democracy, the best thing we can do as people is try and live our lives with as minimal interruption from the government as possible. Because all they do is show that they can't be trusted to do the right thing. Like, for instance, the TikTok bill. Awfully funny that they kind of just snuck in a literal Big Brother into the bill meant to force government employees off the Chinese spyware program. The government sucks and they cannot be trusted to do the right thing, and Thomas's hidings of secret vacations is just another sad example of that. So please, everyone, do not trust the government. They are not going to do the right thing. But I think that's all I have to say about this. Yeah, kind of just a short video today. If you take anything from this video, just remember to not trust the feds. All of them are selfish pricks, no matter how much they try to hide it and what side they claim to be on. Thank you all so much for watching. If my schizo postings intrigued you a bit, then check out some of my other videos, and maybe subscribe to see more of the most base content on this hellscape of a platform. But anyways, God bless you all and have a great day.